both of you guys, tell us how are you doing things before? How are you doing things now? And what are the differences that you guys have seen?
If you're new on the platform or if you're new to bartending and you start with the Happiest Ours booking platform, it'll just be the easiest thing for you. Yeah, so much less to figure out and deal with. Where did the name Messy Bartender come from?
So I'm freaky in the sheets. No, I'm just kidding. Like, all right, cool, I'm gonna enjoy my cocktail. And my wife would go back to my station and she would look at it and she'd just tell me like, oh my God, you're so messy. You're so messy. You're a messy bartender. And mainly the reason why I enjoy doing this as a hobby and enjoy doing it as one of my side hustles is because I really do look forward to almost the psychology of what people can bring around the bar.
Today, we're talking to two mobile bartending companies who aren't just on the Happiest Ours platform, they are thriving. They're closing events, growing their brands, and showing exactly how to make the most out of every opportunity that comes their way. Welcome to Behind the Mobile Bar, the podcast for mobile bartenders and aspiring entrepreneurs. I'm Ryan, aka The Boozy Broker, and when we ran our mobile bartending company, we handled over 300 events and generated over $500,000 in a single year using the Happiest Ours platform. Now, as CEO and co-founder, I'm helping other mobile bartenders do the same, systematize, scale, and succeed. As always, I'm joined by my cousin and business partner, CJ, who keeps us tapped into latest industry moves, and Vivian, owner of Thirsty Horse Mobile Bartending, who's not just a host, she's out there booking events every week through the platform. And today, we're bringing in our powerhouse, Roman from Messy Bartending. He's been making waves on the platform, closing steady stream of gigs and building a brand that stands out. We're diving into his story, how he's booked so many events, and what's working for him. And Vivian, when it comes to turning leads into revenue. We are also asking a big question. Why are so many clients booking events, but skipping the alcohol option? We're breaking that down too, so you can better understand what clients want and how to increase your upsales. Where passion meets profits and every pour tells a story. Welcome to Behind the Mobile Bar. All right.
Oh, that is so intriguing.
One take,
One take more, see?
Okay.
Ooh, where'd that come from?
I love
One
it.
shot,
Guys.
one take.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go.
One of those paragraphs
What brand of
in there-
tequila was that?
Yeah. Right.
Actually gives you memory.
Yeah. Who
Nah,
gave me the liquid courage?
Ryan liked that one. He liked that one.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm so freaking excited to be back. It's been a whole 2 episodes
So crazy.
without me, and I want to hear nothing but you guys miss me.
Yeah, that's about right.
Come on, Viv.
It wasn't
Come
the
on,
same.
Viv.
And it was boring.
It wasn't.
Oh,
You
it was the
didn't
worst
enjoy it.
episode
Yeah, it was
we've ever
horrible.
done.
Yeah.
Right.
I would never
Would
do
never
it
do
again.
that.
Try to cover up your depression if you can.
Yeah, that's it.
That's why I drink for a living.
That's
Well,
it.
I'm so happy to see you guys all back. I really did miss it.
Yeah, absolutely. No, this is now part of our routine, which is great. I love it. We look forward to it. It's Mondays. It sets the week off type of thing. So it's really cool.
Because everybody loves to get drunk on a Monday.
That's it.
Yes.
It's a bartender's
Yeah.
weekend. Bartender's weekend.
I mean,
So,
if you
So
didn't tell me it
picking
was
up-
Monday, I probably would get drunk. If someone told me like, don't worry about what day it is, I'd probably drink it.
Don't worry about what day
Don't
it
worry
is.
about- don't worry about-
Don't worry about what day it is,
Don't worry
Roman.
about what
All right,
day it
you're
is.
good. You're
Right.
good.
All you need to
Right.
know is 5 o'clock.
Oh,
That's it.
thank you.
That's it.
And Roman, we're so excited to have you on here. Like, I'm looking at my family here.
Come here, my brother.
Every day.
Every
I was
day.
there, right? There you go. There you go.
My
Look,
brother.
Same.
Yeah.
I spent so much time with these guys.
Yeah, he sure
Yeah,
did.
right. Delivering alcohol with them, using the platform.
Right.
These guys are the OGs of the platform.
Yeah,
And
buddy.
That's
I
what I'm talking
legit would go and spend time at Roman's and then vice versa. Go spend time at,
Right.
at Vivian's.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like always within like
Quick,
10, 15
quick
minutes.
trips.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's gonna be real quick. I'm just
Yeah.
gonna come by.
Yeah.
And we're like,
Real
fuck.
quick.
Nothing better than telling the
Yeah.
missus,
An
hey,
hour.
I'm gonna give you a call right back. You know, I'm just gonna do this quick drop off.
Yeah.
An
Yeah.
2
hour
hours
later,
later,
we're-
Yeah. So what
We're
you're
still
telling
talking,
me
we're
is
like,
that he was
yeah.
always chilling in the garage with you too, just eating and chilling.
Exactly,
Yeah,
because
perfect.
we, you know, it'd be like,
people.
oh, how was your day
Look.
turned into like, bro, you didn't believe what happened to me.
Yeah, right. Look, guys, you the chemistry, we feel it already.
Yeah.
Before we get into it, I gotta try this beautiful cocktail that's right here.
Yeah,
So,
yes, we do.
Roman, you blessed us today. You gave Viv a day off again, which is awesome.
love
We
having-
appreciate
I
that.
love being
That's
served.
right. Put
But,
me to work. Put me to work.
Yeah, Roman,
Not gonna go
you
there.
did a solid with the cocktail, man. What are we drinking here?
So today we are going to be doing rum. That was the base. So I wanted to do something a little different. Obviously, the first thing that came to my mind was a mojito. It really delicious, refreshing. Can never go wrong with
Classic.
it. Yeah,
Love a
but I
classic.
was like, it's a little too basic. Let me see
Right.
what I can do with the time that we got. This is gonna be Coco Haze. Essentially, it's going to be rum. We use a coconut milk as well as a coconut cream. We finish it with some egg whites. We add a little bit of guava and a little bit of pineapple in there as well.
Look at that.
So
Fancy.
with the egg whites and the coconut milk, kind of gives it a little bit of texture. You kind of get that velvety with a little bit more of a thick finish to it because of the milk. And then the cream adds a little bit of sweetness. Add a touch of agave just because the rum was kind of expressing itself in the cocktail a little bit too much. So I wanted to kind of balance out the higher alcohol with a little bit more of a sweeter tropical finish. So Coco Haze.
Hey, let's go. Let's try it,
Coco
right?
Haze.
Coco
What a great
Haze.
name, too.
And would you
I
top
could've
it
helped
off,
you there.
Roman? You put was it bitters on top?
Angostura bitters.
Angostura.
Cheers.
Love it.
Uh,
Cheers, guys.
This
to the
is
beautiful
one
cocktail.
of the most beautiful
Cheers,
cocktails.
guys.
Oop, I made you spill. My bad. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's
Oh, dude.
so
Oh,
freaking
it's decent.
good.
Man.
That's
so
solid.
freaking
Yeah.
Solid. This is fantastic. You know
It's
what
not
makes a
overwhelming
cocktail?
or over
It's
coconutty
not.
at all.
It's not. You
Yeah.
know what
I don't
makes
like
a
coconut.
cocktail
Yeah,
special?
same.
When you can escape. Anything that allows people to escape.
Like the Pina Colada song?
Do you like pina colada? You know this.
Escape. Yeah.
Right.
I'm sorry.
No, you're right. You're exactly right. That's exactly right. But you know,
he looked at you like, bitch, what?
yeah, I was like, what?
What you mean
What kind of
this
song
one?
is that? I gotta
You
hear
hear
it.
a lot.
I gotta hear it.
Song.
I gotta hear it first. No, but like anything else, like a movie,
You guys
know,
were
a
struggling.
song,
Are we
right?
gonna get
You know what I
any views
mean?
on
Like
today?
all of these things that make you
We
escape.
can cuss on here, right? Or is
Yeah,
that,
we can now.
Okay.
It's YouTube.
Okay.
Alana and Nate got it figured out in the editing. Sorry in advance.
I
Yeah,
look-
they're
I
gonna
look
probably
proper,
do a
but I'm not.
ding. They're gonna do one of those. But no, you
gosh.
literally made me escape with this cocktail, man.
Double cheers.
Super tasty.
Good. I'm glad you liked it.
Solid with that. And I know we have a special rum with it today with 10-1 rum. CJ, what we got here, bro?
Absolutely love 10-1 rum. It actually hits a very, sweet spot in our heart because we actually got to meet the owner, Mark Farrell,
awesome.
at an event. Super awesome dude. 10-1 is also has been invested by Sierra, Russell Wilson's lovely wife, but also her own person. Only mega super, pop superstar Sierra.
Right.
And 10-1 is very special, especially to the Caribbean. 10-1, the name itself comes from the very first Prime Minister Trinidad and Tobago, Dr. Eric Williams, right? And 10-1 really means stronger together than we are apart, right?
love that.
10-1. So what we're talking about is a spirit that brings people together. And that's something that I think 10-1 does really, really well, especially when you make a very fantastic cocktail. Like the
Stellar.
Coco
Oh my
Haze.
gosh.
Yeah.
Like-
So
You're fancy.
very on par.
Yeah.
It's way better than anything I would have made.
I doubt it.
I don't know.
And Roman, we do appreciate. It's funny. We obviously we talk to multiple mobile bartending companies, this and that, and everyone has your own thing that makes them special. And one thing that we've recognized with you is just like your attention to detail and the craft side of things. So like with that being said, like we would love to hear your story. And whenever I talk to mobile bartenders, it's like you got a full-time thing going on. You got a job, and you do really well in that career. And I always ask, like, there's a million things you can do part-time. So many things, especially in this gig economy that we live in. Why bartending? And then also, like, why start your own business? Why be an entrepreneur? Because that's a whole different mindset. like to do that and run your own business. So would love to hear the origins of Messy, the name, and just like what kind of like took you there, right?
Okay. Picture this.
Yeah.
No.
Shit, close my eyes.
I need you to take 10 deep breaths. Just listen to my voice. Honestly, so just to kind of answer your question with a shorter answer, and then I can give you my backstory. Mainly the reason why I enjoy doing this as a hobby and enjoy doing it as one of my side hustles is because I really do look forward to almost the psychology of what people can bring around the bar. Like I had when I was bartending back in the day, I was in an interesting spot where I got to see a wide variety of different people. I got to see fancy people, not so fancy people, travelers, wedding goers, regular people, and they would all converge in this one space, and you'd see them interact, and you'd see the difference of culture. You'd see the difference in how people go about themselves and how they carry themselves, and sometimes you can compare that to the conversation that you hear them saying of who they actually are, and you can kind of peel apart and just really dive into a window of the human psyche when you're at a bar. And obviously, depending on what scenario or where you're at, you get different viewpoints and different windows into different people, and you get to learn about people, which I think was one of the things that I really enjoyed. You'd always get to learn something.
Right.
Like no matter how much you think you know, everyone goes to a bar, whether you're a PhD, tenured professor, doing research, you're a movie maker, writing a script, you're a lawyer, you're a mom,
Starving college student.
you're a starving college student. You always end up going to the bar and you kind of allow yourself to be who you want to be at that moment.
Right.
And it's interesting to see who that person is that they want to be. And if they go there more than once, you get an idea of who they actually are.
Right.
Which
It's the connection to people for you.
it is people. It's what, like you can take that experience anywhere in the world and you can kind of understand in an empathetic way of, hey, this is somebody who I could meet in a bar who wants to be one way, may not be like that way, and is going through the same troubles that I am, and you can relate to that person. It kind of brings a big world into a small room, and you're able to really develop relationships a lot faster than if you were to meet someone in a different, atmosphere.
That's a very interesting way to put it, because like there's a concept of where everyone's bar used to be like their second home. But think about it, it's everyone's second home. Like who they come in. So you're talking about bringing a big world into a small place. This is everyone who walks into that bar. This is their second home. And I know through COVID and stuff like that, we've lost a little bit of that, and so, now it's like get back into that scene, but it will never go away. It'll never go away. People are always going to want to come together, and especially like, people are drinking, they become a little bit more relaxed, more themselves. So you're getting a little bit more real with people in a real environment. So, dude, that's awesome, man.
The barriers get removed.
Right, which is great. And so, like, you used to bartend, right? You used to bartend, and you decided to create. Tell me about that transition. You were bartending, and you were like, okay, I'm going to start my own thing and do my own thing. Like, what triggered you to do that?
Yeah, so I was working at a spot in the Inland Empire called the Mission Inn.
Spot.
Beautiful spot.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
spot.
not just
Probably
a
made it
spot.
sound like it was
It's a major.
And this hole in the wall.
Applebee's or something. Like, it was cool. It was, it's just the
You may have heard of it.
Right.
So for those of you who don't know what the Mission Inn is a historical site in the Inland Empire in Southern California.
I don't think I knew that, dude.
Yeah. And one of the kind of premier spots has history going back to the 1920s, kind of a getaway for a lot of the Hollywood stars at the time. Would go to the Mission Inn because
And presidents, right?
right. Oh yeah. Well, they have the presidential lounge because you had, I think it was Reagan, who had his honeymoon there.
Wow.
And Nixon got married there. You had President Taft visit, and the hotel made a huge chair because Taft was he was a pretty fat guy.
Right.
It was just healthy.
Called Big Bone.
That boy had a booty.
Back it all up like a U-Haul truck.
And the hotel, the hotel thought that it would be cool. Like, oh, we're gonna make him a chair. He's gonna sit in it. It's gonna be fucking badass.
Right.
And he got there, and they made like this whole press briefing about it, and made a big deal out of it. They're gonna get a whole bunch of content or whatever. And they end up getting there. He sees the chair. He sees how fucking huge the chair is, and he gets so offended. He doesn't even sit in it. He doesn't even sit in it. He literally just walks away, says, "Thank you so much for that. I appreciate your thought
That
about
was
my
fat
ass."
shaming back in the day.
Yeah, low key.
Dang.
And so he never sat. The chair is still there, so if you want to smell it, you can.
Can you imagine? He goes up there. He goes up there. And he's like, "Hey, that's a big ass chair." Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like,
He probably had the same thought as we did. Like, who's that chair for? That's a small couch.
Isn't it like Napa? Napa has one of those rocking chairs that's like massive. It's
Yeah.
probably that big.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's huge.
Right.
It's huge.
Show.
Right.
No, that's
Okay, you're working at
yeah.
Michigan.
Anyways,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
you're
Sorry,
working at
working at
Michigan.
My
Michigan.
boy, my boy had a big booty, and I was working there, right? So the Mission Inn, it brought a lot of variety, like I was mentioning before. You get people that are visiting because they have conventions, so they're coming from all around the country, people that are visiting all around the world, and we get some celebrities and things like that. So it was...
So it makes sense. Now, I didn't know that you were at the Mission Inn.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. The craft aspect. It probably was like, that had something to do with it.
100%.
You being there had some influence of like, let me dial in on like what I'm actually going to give to you type of thing. So, okay, that makes all the sense
That
in the
also
world.
makes sense because anybody
That's
who
hold on. I'm
knows,
sorry. I can't
She just got my
stop
boy
laughing.
Tav.
Dude,
She just has
you're
my boy
not.
Tav's booty in her mind right now.
leave
Like,
my man Taft alone. Big booty
Some
people
of us
need love
just
too.
have thicker,
if it's
Yeah.
cold
Yeah.
outside,
Woo,
guess who you're
okay.
gonna be cuddling next to? It's
Hey.
not
All
gonna
right,
be me.
stop it with the big booties. I gotta get myself together. Okay, I'm sorry, CJ. Go ahead. I interrupted you. I have to.
But it makes sense knowing the type of establishment that you're coming from, right? It's a little bit more buttoned up. It's historical.
Right, right.
And that's a really good way that I would describe Roman and Messy Bartending.
Yeah, that's a great point.
I mean, I don't think I've ever seen you in anything like this is dressed down for Roman.
Really?
He's wearing
Yeah.
jeans, people.
Yeah.
I am wearing jeans.
Yeah, I think when I
Believe it
saw
or
him
not.
with the t-shirt once, I was like,
Who are
Yeah.
you? Yeah.
I don't.
Can we get
He has
security to
t-shirts.
escort this
Yeah,
motherfucker
yeah,
out?
yeah.
Like,
Yes,
it's
t-shirts.
cool.
And
What
that
the
plays
hell?
into
right.
that plays into his drinks as well. He will never make a basic
Right.
Thank
drink.
you.
Right.
Never.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I think it's a really good point about presentation.
Yeah. That's
About
key.
who you are.
Right.
Right. And it's funny. It's so big for us, like as Happiest Hours, our employees wear, right, like somewhat of a uniform, like Happiest Hours t-shirt, pants, and all that. But and you can make your thing. And I think Roman has done a really good job of making Messy Bartending right? Like we are elevating your experience. And just from the moment he walks into the room, whether and it's not just Roman, it is all of the bartenders
his team.
underneath him,
Right.
right? They have button ups, they have ties, and I remember that from the very first time I saw your boys in action. Right, we did an event in Venice Beach. You just sent the boys, and I was a little worried. I was like, "Oh, it's just the boys."
Just the
not
boys.
Roman.
just
And
the
these boys were moving a bar and coolers and stuff in a button up and tie and shades, and I was like,
That's
"My
different.
Catholic school days is over with."
Yeah.
I don't know how y'all doing that though,
Right.
right? But it
Suffer.
left an impression. Right?
Suffer. No.
We live in one of the fashion capitals of the world, so you suffer for your fashion. But to me, it left a really good impression from the moment they stepped up. I was like, I feel like they have this under control because of the way they were dressed, because of the way that you dress, right? It just adds an additional layer of professionalism. And I think that there's something to be said about someone who is willing to make sure that the presentation from who they are to your cocktails,
Right.
to your bar setup, that it all shows and reflects on who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
I think, one of the main things that I always wanted to kind of make sure that our company represented was quality and professionalism. I always worked in places that had a higher standard of service.
Right.
The Mission Inn, from the Mission Inn, I went to Fleming's Prime Steakhouse, which
Oh,
is
wow.
yeah.
I didn't know that.
which is a fine dining establishment. So
Mhm.
everything, and when I got there at the particular restaurant that I was working at in Rancho Cucamonga, there was a she was like the store manager, the person that her and the chef were pretty much the people in charge, the partners of that location, and she was so strict. For me to even get into Fleming's
Right.
was
That's-
so hard.
That's where my head is at.
Like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
went from the Mission Inn, and I was living in Rancho, and I wanted to get a little bit closer to home. So I was looking at Victoria Gardens, which is a spot that's around
Right.
us,
Mhm.
that
Yep,
little
yep, yep.
mall, whatever. And obviously, I used to work in the mall back in the day, and Fleming's was always
The
it was
spot.
Fleming's, bro.
Yeah.
Like
it's a spot.
yeah.
people work at Fleming's because they
Yeah.
make.
They spend money at
You-
Fleming's.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You'd see those people walk in and you're like, oh
Right.
shit.
Mhm.
So so I went in and I applied as a bartender. And I applied at a couple different spots. I ended up getting hired at one other spot. Finally they reached out to me and they said, "Hey, we'd like to interview you." And I said, "Okay, great." Thinking like a one interview type of thing. At most restaurants it's like one, all right, cool. You seem like you have the experience. We'll get a vibe check with the manager and you're good. No, this was a fucking test. Like
Mm.
it was 3 managers and like a 3-manager panel and myself. And we literally went through, one of the managers had a book. She had a whole bunch of questions in her book. Like, tell me, and it was also about wine as well, because we need to know
Oh,
about
that-
wine.
Oh,
That makes sense.
God.
So we went through all of the liquor side, what's a dirty martini, what's extra dry mean, what are garnishes that go on this cocktail, how do you make a whiskey sour, what are the measurements in this cocktail, what are the measurements in this cocktail, how do you identify.
And when you're under pressure, even though
Right.
you know that
100%.
stuff, like I don't know, what's a
Yes.
whiskey sour?
Right.
And-
Right.
You're
Yeah,
like-
right.
You second guess yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You're like, I've been
100%.
doing it this way.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Is that the right way?
Is that- yeah,
How have you been
right.
doing
That's
it?
it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that's
That's
huge.
Even brand names, like, okay, give me 3 vodkas that you would recommend, give me 3 gins, give me 3 bourbons, 3 rums, and what would you recommend in
huge.
a cocktail?
Mhm.
And then they went into wine. What wines are from
my- they lose it.
Australia? What wines are from Chile? What wines do you know that are in France? Tell me a little bit more about a Chateauneuf du Pape.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Excuse me, what?
Chateauneuf du Pape.
Just know if anybody ever asks for a French wine, just say Chateau and whatever name you come up
Yeah,
with.
yeah. You're
Chateau-
good. You're gonna sound good.
Chateau, drink this.
Yeah. Right. Dude, that's
Dang.
that's
So that's the
absolutely crazy.
history of what has built Messy and this like persona you guys have. Yeah,
Right.
just that fine dining, drinking experience history.
Right. And what I'm interested in is like these are like it would be more digestible if it was like, oh, I worked at this dive bar or I worked at this bar over here, and then it's like, oh, I just want to get out of it and start my own thing. But these are these are places where people make their careers.
Right.
Right? Like they'll be there for X amount of years. You know, they get paid pretty well.
Yep.
Right? People don't know. I don't think a lot of people know. Like to be in Fleming's and Mission and places like this, like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
good money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Tips, all that good stuff. You know, so it's like at some point you were still like, I'm gonna go do this.
Yeah. So it was pandemic. Obviously, pandemic was the catalyst for everything.
Okay.
So I was at Fleming's when it hit. Fleming's closed for time being, and I ended up doing something for COVID testing. I was kind of doing I picked up another job, and I was doing that. When the time came for a return, I had a couple of pretty much one big point that had changed in my life where it kind of made my decision for me. And it was my wife was pregnant. And so
She was pregnant during COVID.
he was technically a COVID. She's got issues. She loves me too too much. She's crazy. Let me tell you. No, but we
love you, Sarah.
Yeah, we love you. We love you. We had gotten pregnant kind of like in COVID times.
Got it.
I mean, what else was there to do, really?
Right.
And we had one ugly sweater Christmas party. The sweater wasn't ugly enough.
Damn, you never look so good.
And it was cold. So,
Boom.
anyways,
Create some
no
friction.
regrets. Yeah, so we were pregnant, and I was like, okay, cool. I could go back to Fleming's, and I could work every weekend, work all the holidays, make good money. Pretty much. I mean, it's only open for dinner, so it's not like, and it's 5 days a week.
Right.
So it's definitely
Right.
doable, but it's the weekends and the holidays
Yeah.
where you're gone. And I had been in the industry for a long time by then, so I knew the gig. Like, I wouldn't, family events would be far and in between. And I thought to myself, I'm like, yeah, you know what, I can make a lot of money here, but I think I can make money on my own. Like, I think I'm decent enough to have a chance at owning my own schedule, being there for my family, and getting to do some events here and there to enjoy myself, because I actually do enjoy the art. I enjoy not only the art of making a cocktail, but mainly the art of creating relationships. They're just so fun. They're just so fun.
So you're telling me, this is very interesting. So you're telling me child is coming,
Mhm.
and you're like, I know what I'm getting myself into if I go back to Fleming's.
Mhm.
And it sounds like I'm going to have very limited time with the family.
Mhm.
Now my family is growing if I continue to work here. And I need to figure something else out where I can control my own destiny.
Yep.
Right? And that was kind of, that's like, it all makes sense right now, but it's kind of forward thinking, because like some people don't act on that until it actually happens.
Yeah.
Right. Until they're like, oh, I'm not spending enough time with my son and my wife. And then like, I should do something different. But you foresaw like, okay, I have a child on the way. Like, this is not the greatest thing for the near future that's coming up. And
Yeah.
I need to start putting a plan in place in order to alter what I got going on so I can create more balance within my life. Is that like a good way to kind of put it?
Yeah, so I mean, I lost someone that, was important to me, and when everything was happening, and it wasn't like a quick thing, it was a drawn out thing. When it was happening, I got to see, and at that point in my time, I had seen, success in my family. My dad had a successful business, had money, had all the things that kind of come with it, and saw the outcome, and didn't really do anything for me. Like, I could see like, okay, having money to a point is great, but having more than what you need really isn't what makes people happy.
Right.
And people would always ask, what do you want in life? And I just want to be happy. I want to figure out how to be happy, right?
Yeah.
But whatever you have, just figure out how you can be happy with the circumstances you have, right?
Right.
Obviously, nobody's really satisfied with where they're at and what they're doing, but how can you be happy about it, right? Because you'll enjoy the journey, and ultimately that goes back to enjoying the journey of before you get to the destination.
Right.
Because when that person passed away, I had made decision to go to work when I knew that, in a couple of events where I knew that it was probably more important to go to my family, and I made the decision to go to work.
I see what you're saying.
And looking back and looking at what he thought was important at the time that he passed away, it wasn't work. It was nothing about work ever came up. Nothing about money ever came up. Nothing about the business ever came up. It was always time with family. Like, I just want to spend time with you,
Yeah.
and we can do nothing, but as long as we're here together, right?
Sharing.
And I saw that, and I'm like, okay, well, we're all gonna die, which is cool.
That's the line of the night right there.
We're all gonna die.
We're all gonna die.
which is cool.
It's cool.
But what am I gonna be realistically thinking of when I'm about to die? Like, if it was right now, what would I want Like I really wouldn't care about money. I really wouldn't care about my business. I would want to know that I was there for the events for my son, that my son would think of me as a parent that he
That
could
was
always
there.
rely on, always be there,
Right.
always see, right? A flawed person, because I don't want to be someone that I'm not, and kind of like create this facade. I want him to see he had a flawed father that did his best and was always there, right? And as long as you can do that, right, then you're just kind of you're balancing the rest of the time, right? So like you're in my perspective, like that value compared to the money value of what's in my account is a lot heavier, right? So if I can dedicate and invest that time there and then make a little bit of money doing what I need to do to pay for what I need and what he needs and make sure he's happy, okay, cool. That's all that I need, right? Like I don't need to be the king of your world. I will for about 5 minutes and then I'm out after that. Like,
Yeah. And the icing on the cake is doing that thing that can make you money, something that you are passionate about, you're good at, you enjoy, and all those things as well. So, dude, kudos for you on that. That's fantastic. Absolutely love the story. And I think the common thread and the theme here is that your motivation to start your own business and run your own business is coming from like a different and higher source in a way, from a very rooted,
family oriented,
family. Like it's just different. And because of that, the moves that you make, the things that you do is not, kind of, influenced by, this type of event's going to be cooler, so I'm going to show up this way, or this type of event's going to give me more money, so I'm going to show up this way, or this one is not going to give me that much more money, so I'm going to show up a little bit less than who I am. I think your why is what I'm really getting at. Your why is like thought out, and you know what it is, and so therefore you show up as Roman at Messy Bartending Company every single time, and you expect that out of your team, which I know CJ has talked about because he sees it, So, dude, this is fantastic. Well, I'm excited, guys. We're going to take a quick break, check out this commercial we got going on, and then we're going to get back to it. We're going to talk about how these guys are crushing on the platform. Cool? Yeah. All right.
Where is it? Damn, it's not here. It's not here either. Oh, there it is. This episode is sponsored by Happiest Ours, the platform for mobile bartenders to easily grow and manage their business. Let's get back to the episode.
Like, love hearing the story.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the second part of the podcast. This is going to be fantastic as well because you guys have been doing something crazy. But before we do that, we got a question corner over here.
Question corner.
Let's see
Welcome
what
back,
we got.
Question corner.
Question corner.
Question
No, it's been a minute, actually.
We miss our
since had
peoples.
Nobody
know.
puts the question in the corner.
Nobody. Stop it. Okay, so this question actually comes from the Thirsty Horse.
Okay.
Oh. Wonder who that is.
Somebody from the Thirsty Horse really wants to know, where did the name Messy Bartender come from? How did you get that name?
The Messy Bartender. So I'm freaky in the sheets. No, I'm just kidding.
I knew it. I knew it. And scene. We're done. Good night, everybody.
No.
And the FCC shuts us down.
Yeah, I am no, I'm just kidding. So essentially how it's who I am, to be honest. It stemmed from when we were during the pandemic. My wife is very blessed with the food, the culinary touch. Like, she just knows what flavors go together. She doesn't do the measuring thing. She just, by feel. Yeah, exactly. All comes out amazing every time. So she's really good at that. And at the time, I was kind of still working at the Mission Inn, transitioning, and I was getting into mixology. I was getting into the actual craft of creating a cocktail, and I wanted to show her up.
No, stop it.
And
Sounds like you.
Yeah, I wanted to at least contribute, and I wanted to be able to match her meals. So if we were doing an Italian night, she would make Italian food. I would come up with an Italian cocktail. We'd do like a Godfather or something like that. We try to keep it so it was a gastronomy type of an
You
event.
guys are fancy. I'm just getting away with like spaghetti and meatballs
Yeah.
twice a week.
Pop-Tarts.
Sandwiches.
I love spaghetti and meatballs. I love spaghetti and meatballs. Yeah, my mouth just watered.
Okay, Messy Bartender.
So essentially, I was getting into the art of the craft cocktail. I was learning what ingredients went well. I was learning the consistencies. I was learning the measurements. I was learning all of these different things that had an impact. I was, learning the type of sugars to put into simple syrup and how that affected the cocktail, and all of these different things to be able to present a cocktail at dinner when my wife would present, the meal. And over time, I would get all these different ingredients, fruit, herbs, simple syrups, all these different things. I would shake up. I would create this cocktail, make sure the cocktail looks really nice. And then I'd be like, all right, cool, I'm going to enjoy my cocktail. And my wife would go back to my station and she would look at it and she'd just tell me like, oh my God, you're so messy. You're so messy. You're a messy bartender. And
Can you say that with like a Valley girl? Messy Bartender.
you're such a messy bartender. And so she just, how
She
rude of
coined it
her,
for you.
right? How could she say that to me in my face? And-
Right.
Surprised you guys still married.
yeah, I was enraged. No. So in that she just kind of would always tell me after I would do it, like, God, you're so messy. You're such a messy bartender. And it was true, but I would always, I learned how to clean up and everything.
It's organized chaos, man. I know
you.
what that is.
It's-
Like, you know where your stuff is at.
Yeah.
It's just where it's at.
And as as you get into many years of doing it, you learn, mise en pause. Everything has its place. Everything goes where it
There's a
should
home
be.
for everything.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and it should be clean and wiped down. But at the time, I was just like, I'm just. Just get off my
You're
back.
just
Like,
a
I'm
dude.
just fucking.
You were just
Right.
a dude.
Yeah.
Like, you
Quick
dream of
cocktail.
cleaning a
Like a
mess.
house.
Do I go
like-
to your kitchen?
Yeah.
You should be cleaning up.
Yeah, right.
No, I do not.
Yeah.
So that was just kind of, and it was catchy. It was like, okay, Messy Bartender, for sure. Nobody's gonna be taking this name because nobody in their right mind would insult
I
themselves.
love that. I love that. We live in a world
But
like
it is so
trademark.
funny
Yeah,
because-
no, I'm gonna
That
get
is
that
so
website.
Shit's mine.
That shit is mine. No competition.
Right.
That's what I was gonna say. It's just so funny because your persona is so
Yeah.
totally
Exactly.
opposite.
Great point.
So totally opposite. So buttoned up, prim, proper, clean, and then the house is upside down.
Yeah,
It's like an oxymoron.
it is.
Right.
It is.
Yeah.
I always loved that. When somebody was like, "Hey, yo, tiny," and you turn around,
Right.
you're
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Yo, what up?"
Yeah, yeah.
You're like, "God damn."
Yeah. Right, right.
Well, anywho, let's get into platform stuff. 'Cause
Yeah,
I
no,
am
I'm
excited.
I'm excited for this because mainly because you two are special, because you guys been with us from the jump, and when we first started to kind of create this thing, and you guys were part of the whole test dummy experience.
Mm-hmm.
And
Early
I
days.
think we all had this strong relationship of like, hey, look, we're creating this thing, like I want your opinion on it, how it works, this and that. And if it doesn't work for you, do what you got to do right now to book your events, whatever. But like, if there's a way that you can make this work through this platform, this and that, like, it'd be great if you use it, and then just like let us know how it worked for you. And I think that this is going to be a really cool conversation because you guys have transformed to not only like testing it and using it and like helping us. You guys both text us individually of like, hey,
All the time.
hey,
My text
this is
to you
working.
always
This is
start.
not working.
I'm
This
so
is
sorry
working.
to bug again.
No, dude, we
But-
need that. We absolutely need
Yeah.
that. But you transformed from like being that test dummy to like using it for your events, and particularly as of late, like all CJ and Alana and I, we see just events from you guys.
Ding,
We
ding.
just see
Congratulations. You booked
Emails,
a new
congratulations,
house.
this and that,
Right.
booking, and I think, and look, the stage that we're in right now, I want you guys to be completely open, honest, everything about what's working. How did you like get involved with it? Also, you guys use other platforms in order to get your leads, get your bookings. There's a lot of platforms out there that can give you leads, and we try to tell all the bartenders when we talk to them, like, hey, we're the opposite of that. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
we step in when you get that lead, and we
You're
try
the
to help you
closers.
close
Right.
those
You're the
leads.
closers.
Right.
And there's reasons for that. And then we also help you try to like automate as much as you possibly can automate. And we're always getting better in that aspect, especially with AI and everything. Like, we're getting better at that aspect. But it's like, you guys are now pairing platforms that you're using and using the Happiest Ours platform. So like, I want us to get tactful here and just really understand how you're using it. And so I guess let's just open up and both of you guys tell us how are you doing things before? How are you doing things now? And what are the differences that you guys have seen? So Vivian, let's start off with you.
Got
Who's
it.
first?
Thank you.
I'm a nice guy.
I have been using the same CRM for years, since the beginning. So it's funny going back to like the I don't like to say test dummy because I'm not a dummy, to the guinea pig days.
Yeah, there you go. Guinea pig.
To the guinea pig days. I remember those first few calls where you would call and say like, okay, Viv, what are some things that can make your life easier? I literally never knew. I could never get, he would ask me the questions and
Right.
he would answer the questions because I had no idea.
Right.
So when you're saying like this was something new and not done before, I didn't know how to make my life easier. Fast forward to now, I know I'm jumping ahead, but fast forward to now where using the platform is literally done. I don't have to go in. God, I'm just jumping too far ahead, huh?
No, you're good.
It's just easy. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
It's so easy
Yeah.
to using my leads, Zola. I use Zola a lot for weddings.
Right.
Well, Zola is a wedding platform, so I use that for my wedding leads. Reach out to my clients, do their little consultation. Boom, Viv, I love it. I want to book. Before, I'd have to then go to my CRM,
Right.
input all their info, build their profile, build their invoice, send them an invoice, send them a contract, make sure they send it back. And to be honest, I was slacking on it so bad because there were so many steps.
Right.
Do you
There's
feel
so
like
many
you were-
steps. There's
Yeah.
a lot of back and forth.
Do you feel like you were missing business because of that sometimes?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure I was. It was just kind of overwhelming sometimes. Now, using the platform, I'll get my leads from Zola. Hey, Viv, we love it. How do we move on? I just go to Happiest Ours, Thirsty Horse, put in their info. Price automatically comes up. We choose the cocktails for them, and I hit that little send button that will send them their invoice link. The contract's already built. I mean, I'm talking to the client, and they're paying 30 minutes is done. I don't have to worry about a thing.
That's awesome.
So you're yourself walking yourself through the platform, putting in your customer detail,
And
and
then
you're
sending it
just
to them.
sending them. All you
I
gotta
don't make
do
them
is
do
pay.
anything. I don't make them do anything because I just want them to, okay, pay, go. I don't want them to think on it. I don't want them to sit on it
Yeah.
and then like, well, maybe we don't. Like, here it is, just hit the button and pay. This is so
think
seamless.
What you said it right there. You make sure that you leave it so that all they have to do is pay.
right.
Because a lot of times, I think that companies will go back and forth, and it's like, all right, fill out this form. I'm gonna get back to you.
Yeah.
Right, and so
It's work for them. It's work for
Yes,
us.
Right.
and
yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to sit at
So-
the end of the night for hours at the night. Like, all right, who do I have to follow up with?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. And you could just send them something where the option to pay is right there.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I think that because a lot of times people have decision fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Right. There's so much you have to choose
Yeah.
and
I'm
decipher
one of those
through.
people. I hate options.
Thank
I
you.
just want to
Thank
get it out of my face.
You-
Done. Yeah.
Vivian and Rome, you guys are two great people for this because you both have 9 to 5s, right? Where you're making decisions. Then you have your own business
There, you have to make this.
where you're making decisions. There are other people in the world like you. And so when you can just remove the opportunity to have to make decisions
Yeah.
and it's all laid out for you, take my money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
that
yeah.
much more likely. Just take
Yeah.
it.
And now that I'm sorry, Ryan.
No, go for it.
And so now, like you're saying, we're seeing so many gigs book through.
Right.
Because now that I've gotten to spend more time and we're past that guinea pig stage,
Right.
I've learned other ways of how I can just maximize my bookings on there. And now that it's just so much easier,
Right.
like I don't want to do anything else. I don't want to use my old CRM. I just want to book through the platform. And now that's why everything's getting fed through there. Which
love it.
actually, I wanted to show you something. I'm bringing out my handy dandy telephone here. My
Hey.
telephone.
what?
I don't know how
You boring.
long ago you last went on my website, but go ahead and click on that. So before you would click on my website, and it would take you to my old CRM.
Wow,
Now
she has
it's
the
been-
call to action going.
Now
on.
it's,
I
well,
pushed the
I had the
button.
call to action, but it was to my old CRM, so now it's officially forever replaced
Go, Viv.
with the Happiest Hours platform, and I actually canceled my old CRM, so we're 100% Happiest
man.
Hours only now.
Don't make me cry on this
I
podcast.
know.
Don't
It was
make
a
me
big
cry.
step.
Don't make me cry.
It really was a big step
No.
because I've never known anything else. But literally these last like 6 months, I realized like my life is so much easier now. Like it's a piece of cake. Why am I doing anything else?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
No.
on Happiest Hours all the way, guys.
Once you go black,
That's-
dude, you never go
Can I
back.
get my Wait, so now I need my bubble tattoo. Now I need my
yeah,
bubble
get your
tattoo.
bubble tattoo. Both of
Yeah.
y'all need to get the bubble tattoo.
No,
this,
I did that this morning.
We'll give
This
it to
is
the
great.
scheduler.
yeah.
She'll schedule the tattoo.
that means so much to us because like
Shouts out to
it,
Alana.
it shows like our growth, right, with you guys as assistants of like how do we make this work? And I think our focus has always been like the product and like being a product manager. So there's different stages I think when you have a startup, and I'm like far from a guru of this, but like this is just what I think. In the stage that we're in, I had to play a role of like product manager, as in all you do is you talk to your people, you figure out their pain points, and you prioritize what your tech guys are going to build based off of their pain points. And that's why I would ask those questions, like, what are you having issues with? Not with what you're using with Happiest Hours, but what you're currently using. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right? And it's just like, how can I build something that fills in a gap for that?
Yep.
Right? And so, you know, it says a lot for you to make that move. And I don't want you to, like, that was a big move for you. Because
I've never known
you know,
anything else.
to
Yeah.
change behaviors, that is so difficult. To have people say like, I'm going to do things this way now. Like that's a huge win for us. As close as we are, like that's still a huge win. You're not going to make that change unless it's truly valuable to you.
Yeah.
So
And it
kudos
really
to you
is.
with that. And going back to what CJ was saying, I think ultimately what we try to focus on is that we're all emotional people, and we make buying decisions in emotional times sometimes. If you have to give the buyer the option to buy immediately because you don't know when they're going to do it. You don't know when lightning is going to strike, and they're just like, fuck it, just press the button and
Yeah.
just buy it.
Yeah.
And just, I'll close my eyes, I'm just going to do this.
Yeah.
You don't know when that's going to happen. So if you create a barrier of like, I need to go back to you and answer some more questions in order to get to that buying decision or get
to
to
do
that
more
button.
work.
I got to do more work to do that. You're even your buyers are subconsciously like, I kind of don't want to do that. You know, you have to give them the option where it's, again, we talked about hot potato. It's always in their court,
Right.
and they can buy at any moment in time. You know, it may not be exactly what you want. Maybe the cocktails, you might want to change this, change that,
Yeah,
whatever.
but that's an
But
easy
you
change.
have the option to press the button and buy.
Yeah.
And that's what our core purpose was. So going back to Zola real quick, and we'll for sure talk about how you're winning over here, Roman. Zola, does Zola have its own like messaging app? So let's get down to the like brass tacks.
Right.
So Zola is contacting you through like a Zola messaging app, or
So
is
it's
it
their
outside
own
of that?
platform where couples enter whatever. I'm looking for a bartender. They give you a list of 20 bartenders.
Right.
The client already has their profile built. If they're interested in you, they'll send you a generic like, hi, I'm looking for wedding bar service. If they're detailed enough, they'll give you all the details.
Right.
But it is basically like a messaging with a little drop-down arrow of view their details and who they've already hired and what they're still looking for. So now you're messaging to them, hey, this is Vivian. Nice to meet you. If they haven't given enough info, here's a couple of questions. Let me know
Right.
when, where, how many people, and whatnot.
Right. The black and white
The
questions.
black
the
and
stuff
white.
you need.
But I want to avoid the back and forth thing. So
Right.
this is where my old schoolness that we've talked about before comes in. Hey, I'd love to talk and get some more details from you so that we can customize your specific service.
Right.
I try to avoid, let me know when some good dates and times are for you because that just leaves an open court.
Right.
Here's my number. Text me, let's schedule a call.
Yep.
What I have learned, though, is that young folk nowadays, they don't want to do that. They don't want to talk.
All
Yeah.
text.
They-
All text.
They just
So
wanna say-
let me take a step back. So Zola, you have the customer's contact info.
You have the contact info once the couple has basically accepted your message and answered back.
I see.
So once they know that this is a legitimate communication thread going, then they will unlock the details for the client. So in essence,
Are you getting phone number and or is it just email?
it's phone number and email.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
okay.
phone number and email.
And-
I don't like cold calling, so I
Right.
always
Double
send
tap that
Right.
motherfucker. Call
I-
twice. They didn't pick up.
right.
Hey, you never need. Hey, hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
No, that makes sense. And then, so when it comes to charging Zola and their prices, and we don't have to get too granular in that, but I'm assuming when they accept, that's when Zola probably takes something from you. They charge
Once
something.
the then couple, now this would be the third message, because first message they reach out to you, second message you reply to them. Once they like, okay, this is my info, or okay, let's call. Once they reply, now the charge is going.
I see.
And so you're either
makes
paying,
sense.
you're paying a monthly fee just overall, or you're paying per leads.
Oh, they give
have
you the
different-
option
mhm,
and
they
how
give you the
you want
option
to.
of how
That's
you would
nice.
like
That's
to pay.
very cool. That's a very
That's
cool way
nice.
to do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I
it's-
was one of their first guinea pigs when they first started, where they reached out to me. We're starting this platform.
I do remember
we would
when
like
Zola
to
was
join
doing
you.
that.
Let's
I
be
do remember
honest.
that.
You're a test dummy. Let's be.
Just a dummy.
You're such a
Wah,
great
wah.
guinea pig.
We call that
Guinea
cutting
pig.
edge.
Yeah.
Thank
Vivian
you.
is
That
before
sounds-
her time.
I appreciate
Okay.
that.
The king of
Thank
guinea-
you
the
so
queen of
much.
guinea
The
pigs.
Queen of guinea
pigging.
pigs.
She's the
Queen
queen.
of
Queenie
pigging
pig.
sounds terrible.
She's the queenie pig.
The Queen of New Guinea.
Yeah, the Queen of New Guinea. That
Queen
should be
of
a
New Guinea.
cocktail
The
name.
Queen-
The Queen of
You know
Guinea
what?
Pigs.
Write that down.
Yeah.
Write that down.
You have so many animals. Parched ponies. Yes, of course.
The guinea pig.
Like,
The naked
just
cat.
that's yeah.
The naked
The
cat.
horse,
naked
the
cat.
Black Beauty.
Yeah,
Oh my
the Black
gosh.
Beauty. I love it.
Black Beauty. If you guys didn't
okay.
see the Black Beauty stories,
So
if you
no,
guys didn't see the
kudos.
Black Beauty stories, go to
Yeah,
my
kudos
stories.
for
Check
Zola.
those
Actually, I give
stories.
them a lot of credit. I haven't dabbled. I do remember them reaching out to us early in the days, but I haven't dabbled too much
Yeah.
with them, and we probably should. But it's almost like they're qualifying the lead for you.
They
in a
do. I
way.
was just about to say that. So after time, or basically every lead you get, they'll send you like a quick, hey, was this lead up to your par? And you rate it 1 star, 5 stars. So now it starts, I'm sure, AIing like, oh, this is the type of client that she prefers. So they will only send you those.
Got it.
Which is cool, and I like it. I mean, it is leads. There is
Yeah.
no CRM to it. There is no building profiles. I can't send invoices through them. I can't do anything else.
Got it.
So that's where then I take all that info,
And
I
then you
punch it
gotta
into
do your
my
own thing.
handy dandy Happiest Ours platform
Right.
and close it.
You're ready to go. Okay, so it's a pay for lead platform directly, and then you transact outside of the platform.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. Very cool. And if you had to put a percentage on the amount of leads that you're closing through Zola, just ballpark. Is it about half
100%,
of them?
baby.
Well, you know what?
100%.
Actually,
Like a
closing
third?
people that
ABCs.
actually reply, closing, I'd say
Always.
75%.
No way.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
if
yeah.
they reply, you're closing 75% of your
Yeah,
leads.
I am. But I will.
really
I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but definitely,
Toot it,
if
baby.
I know I'm getting a client on the phone, I'm selling
close it. You're
myself.
gonna
I'm
crush it.
closing it.
Right.
But see, but that's a key thing though,
Yeah.
right? Is
So key.
that you know if I can get you on the phone,
I got you. Yeah.
the rest is done. And it's because I always say, right, like your first impression,
Exactly.
right? You're going above and beyond to take that time, to make that time, right? And I'm sure you're not just doing hey, let me just answer this phone call and collect your information,
no,
right?
so much more than
Whenever
that.
you're making sure that you're in a focused environment, you're taking notes, you got your details, and
Cooking
then
spaghetti at the same time. Yeah.
well, you're a monster. You're probably multitasking.
It's definitely it's not a pushy car salesman speech
Yeah,
at all. I'm
yeah.
delivering my expertise,
Right.
my knowledge of wedding bar service and how much of a different beast it is. So if you make people understand the value behind you and your
100%.
expertise, they're sold.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like jump out of my skin when I hear this stuff because like I've seen you in action before when we were talking to clients, and you provide this like motherly, but like from a like I'm not trying to be motherly. It comes out indirectly because
Because I care. I really
well, you ask the detailed questions of the event. You ask all these things to where the other side, the client feels like, oh, she's going to take care of me.
Right.
She's asking all the right questions.
Questions that they didn't know were
that
questions.
they didn't even know. Oh, snaps! I didn't think about that. That's a great point. I've seen you in action. You've done this before. You've done it enough times to know, like, I need to do this. Anything about that? Anything about this? And it's almost like you're asking questions for them as well. Like, have you thought about these things? Because you have other vendors you're dealing with,
and that's what people go, oh shit, she knows what she's
and
talking
she knows
about.
what she's doing, and then it
see
comes
the
off
value.
as like, I feel like it comes off as everyone's like, yo, she's gonna take care of me, and there's this like motherly aspect that's to it. You know what I mean? So, kudos to you on that. You know, for crushing it, and also kudos to you for taking on a newer platform like Zola and a newer platform like Happiest Ours, combining the two and showing success throughout the process. And I think also, not to toot our own horn, but I do know that there's a fact that you showing up in the Happiest Hours way with the link where they can book versus everybody else and how they're doing it. You know, it is different.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that we have heard. It's just all like, oh, wait, the customers are just all like, wait, I can just like, press this link and pay. The other bartender, I have to do all these other like 10 million things in order to do this. So I know that there's probably some value with that. But Roman, man, I would love to hear. So you're using the Knot, right? You're using the Knot, which is obviously a behemoth of a platform. They're massive. Some people just operate just on the Knot. They use it as their main source of everything.
Yep.
And obviously it's very catered towards weddings and stuff like that, which is huge in our industry.
Yep.
You know, tell me about your experience there, man. How you've been on the Knot for a minute now, how you used to use it, and how you've transitioned to using it with Happiest Ours.
Yeah, so the Knot got me pretty early. They reached out to me when I first started my business. I had made sure that when I started doing my mobile bartending that I at least had an online presence and I was familiar with SEO. I was familiar with some of the things that you needed to do in order to be one of those people that come up at the top first page of Google, right? So
Tech background.
Yeah, exactly. Making sure all your descriptions are filled out and they have keywords in them, and you're looking at the keywords that you're putting in there, and you're evaluating whether or not you're getting a lot of competition based off of those keywords. So all of that little stuff before it was already generated in a lot of the platforms, right? Like a lot of the platforms that we offer now, they offer SEO, search engine enhancement for you to be able to be one of the bartenders that come up if they were looking up on Google bartending in my area or whatever, right? Exactly. Yeah. So I did it online, and they reached out to me. They gave me a call. They gave me their sales speech, and I had known the Knot from when we did our wedding. So I was familiar with the platform. My wife pretty much booked all, she looked at a lot of vendors on there as well. So she was the one that was like, oh, the Knot's good, because I didn't do shit for the planning of the wedding. Let's be honest.
Hold on, let me interrupt you really quick.
The bar
showed up.
The bar and the DJ were my responsibilities,
and that's
I
it.
handled
Booze
business.
and music.
I handled business.
Drinks were flowing
So-
and people were moving.
Guess who danced all night? Okay.
Oh, yeah, that is
well,
no.
we know about
that's
Roman.
That's you.
Roman get down on the dance floor.
But I'm sorry to
Hey,
interrupt you
all
really
night.
quick. Back in my days when I got married,
Okay.
freaking forever
Like
ago,
1920.
I know.
Back in my day.
when I had to walk to
dinosaurs
school
walking
with
around.
no
You guys are the
shoes.
No shoes.
You all the
No
same age, right?
shoes.
Yeah, right.
Way
There
back
was-
in the day.
There was no Zola. There was no the Knot. There was none of that stuff. Everything was word
Back
of
when
mouth.
we were on
wedding-
Facebook.
you
You
do
remember
wedding
that?
planner?
Yeah.
No, there was no wedding plan. No, nothing.
Oh, you just did it yourself.
I just did it myself. But yeah, there was no Zola. There was, anyways. I'm sorry. I just brought back
That's
memories.
just
Like, I was doing this
Back
when
in
you were
my
your daddy's
day.
nuts.
Yeah.
Oh my
So you were
God.
familiar with the platform already. You were familiar with
was.
the platform.
Yeah.
Personal use. That's great,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, so it worked really well for my wife. She really had a good opinion of it. Obviously, I'm going to take her word for it. And when they reached out to me, they did the spiel. They got me hooked. I'm like, okay, cool. This will be one of my main things. I didn't really, do Instagram. Oh, I probably still don't do
Yeah,
Instagram.
you really don't do Instagram.
Hey,
Get yourself one of those, as Ryan says.
I do. I need one of those. I can't get one in China, right? So
Probably not.
maybe Taiwan.
I heard you could get it from the Bay,
Yeah, I know.
Castro Valley, and
They're
Hayward.
there. They're there. You gotta drive around. So I was on the platform. It was one of those legit things. It was one of my funnels of leads that came in.
Right.
Once I started doing a little bit more Instagram, take that for what it's worth, I would get some from Instagram, and then I'd also get some from Google search. So I was getting pretty much 3 different sources of leads, right? I was
And
getting
Google search was coming from the Knot because you had a profile in the Knot.
it was coming from the Knot in addition to having my website.
I see.
And then
Zone.
make sure that I'm linking most of my either website or the Knot profile on my different
Right,
like my
right,
Instagram,
right.
things
So
like
you
that,
would
right?
Revisit
So you,
things
you're
and stuff
making
like
sure that
Yeah.
you tested well in the algorithm, in the SEO algorithm.
Yes.
So if you guys don't know, right, Google
CJ
has
with the
its,
facts. Tell us for those that
sorry,
don't know.
Only because I did used to work in paid advertising. Right.
Nerd.
So like full nerd. Google creates an algorithm
Yeah.
based on how accurate and how valuable your information is.
Right.
So when Roman is talking about keywords, right? He's talking about key search words that you're searching in Google, but it's not just having the right words, it's how long when guests go to visit your site, do they stay on your site because they found the correct information. And that's why it's such a key thing that Roman says, in that he would tie his profile from the Knot to his platform and vice versa, right? Because now the algorithm is saying, oh, okay, people can find him in multiple different areas, and he is exactly what they're looking for. Accurate information.
Right.
Right now, Ryan and I, we're looking for bartending companies, and when I look at people's profiles and the amount of inaccurate
Right.
information that's on there is crazy.
I don't even know what city you're in.
Yeah,
Really?
I have no clue.
I don't know
city
what
you're in.
area you service. I don't know. People don't have emails or
Right.
phone numbers on there.
On their website?
On their websites.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Like,
If they have a
I-
website.
Yeah,
if
if
they
they
have a
have
website.
one.
And having a
Right.
website is a big, especially in our space, it's a
Yeah.
big deal.
It's a
It
leg
really
up.
It's a big deal.
Right. And so that's a good point. So Roman, who did you go to create like what was your website platform? Was it Wix? Was it
So when I created the Messy Bartender, obviously I fell in love with the name because it was someone that it was like and antithesized what I meant. Like it was my personality. I'm clumsy and I can be messy, but we clean up well, right?
Yeah.
And I knew once we did that, okay, cool. Nobody's gonna be taking that name. Let me create my my state business.
DBA.
Yeah, I got my
Yeah.
EIT, got my all of that paperwork done. Okay, now let me secure the websites. This is the next thing. So I went on GoDaddy, looked at the different websites, looked at all the different options that you could do. What possibilities that you might be doing in the future, and secure those websites right then and there, right? So like, for example, if you're doing multiple bartenders, well, I have the messybartenders.com as well as the messybartender.com.
Smart. Very
I
smart.
have the messy. I have
Foresight.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you have the Messy Bartending podcast or whatever it may be, like
Yep.
things like that. Got all those different things. Made sure I had the ownership of those. Once I did that, the next thing was the website, and I got my domain off of GoDaddy, and I got the website off of Canva. Because my wife she's very creative, so she had Canva already. So we were paying for it out of pocket just for her personal use.
Right.
She would create different things for parties, for our own parties and things like that. So I was like, okay, well, I'll cover the cost. We can do a website on there. We can all work and create a website together. They helped me immensely on creating that, giving it a very aesthetic look, making sure that it was pleasant when you visited it, had the information in a way that made sense for the person looking at it. Because you have to realize that in the psychology of booking, there's going to be certain questions that come up more often than not in certain orders, right? So, the main thing that people will come into is going to be, well, how much is it going to cost? Well, how do you charge? Well, does it matter if is it by hour or is it by the amount of people? What does it come with? Right? And all of these things, you don't really typically ask what does it come with before you've asked how do you charge. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
so having your website in a way that makes sense to where you're answering those questions and they continue to scroll, right? And so that was the main thing. Having the website was huge, making sure that I had some type of online presence. So at least if people Googled bartending in
Right.
Miami,
It'll come up.
I'd be there.
Yeah, so it sounds like you got your leads from coming from the Knot. You got your own website that's driving its own traffic. You're obviously you are on social media as well.
Yep.
So what would you say? Is there any other platform you're on? You're on Thumbtack or anything like that, or no? You're just really it's just those three sources. What would you say?
Yelp. Are you considering Yelp a platform?
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah,
100%.
Yelp
Yeah,
is
yeah. If you're on Yelp, I would say splitting it up into those things that you're using. What percentages are coming in from like Knot, like just like
SEO,
cold coming in from your email
platform.
or inbound, like
Referral.
Yeah, so I'm probably getting quality leads are going to be top two is Google and the Knot. The Knot's going to be number one, then followed by Google, and then Instagram is probably the last.
Got it.
Out of those, I would say probably 70% are going to be from the Knot.
Wow, that's huge, man. That's powerful.
Yeah.
So okay, let's dive into that a little bit. Okay, so you're on the Knot. The Knot, from my understanding, is a monthly subscription.
It is.
Right. They have different packages. They have things where there's profiles on there. If you pay a certain price, you can be the top 3 or top 6 profiles up there.
Yep.
And then you're after that. And leads just come in. So leads come in. Walk me through the process of like how you get notified from a lead coming in.
Yeah, so essentially, and that's one of the reason. Well, I'll get into it. So essentially, they'll put in a message. Hi, we're looking for a bartender this time. We'd love to hear more back about your services.
From that lead, are they hitting up multiple bartenders or just
They
you?
probably are.
They probably
Sure,
are.
They
yeah.
probably are.
Okay.
Most of the time, they are. I mean, it just kind of thinking back to my experience on there, we did.
Right.
So why wouldn't anyone else?
Right.
So
Right.
so when you have that, you kind of have that sense of urgency to where you want to get back to them. The issue is, in addition to that, they kind of create their profile similar to Zola, and they have certain information. It's up to them to fill it out completely. And most of the time, you're just getting email. You're getting a general sense of the amount of people, and it could be between 100 and 200 people.
That's
a
crazy.
huge gap.
That's wild.
Exactly.
Have you noticed that on
Yelp does that. Yelp
Oh
does
my God.
that. Between
Amount
50,
of people between 25 to 200. Like,
Yeah.
Can we talk?
And
We're
then they'll
trying
be
to
like,
have a party.
"What's your
It's
price?"
Between, we're having a party between 200 and 200,000 people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much?
So can you tell
What
me
would that
what
be?
it's going to take?
Oh my
That's
gosh.
crazy.
Yeah, but Yelp said that you were only $500.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
right,
exactly.
right. Okay, so
Yeah.
you get some generic information. I feel like at that point, it's almost like going down a funnel of like, okay, how real is this? Like, how much should I respond? This and that. Like, but since it's a monthly subscription, like you'll respond to everything.
Oh yeah, no, like
It's
you
not
don't.
one of those things where it's like, I probably shouldn't respond to this. This doesn't seem as real. You're just gonna.
They're
yeah.
quality. Like
Right.
people who are on the Knot are actively
Yeah,
saving or have the money.
right.
They're
They're
you
in the
know,
market.
They're
Right.
They're in the
there
market
for a reason.
You just don't go to the not.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Just
Exactly. So if you're out there and you're reaching, and I see that you've completed your profile, you added pictures, you're putting your fiance's name on there, you're putting all this
Right.
information. I know that you're in the market seriously, and I know that you've been saving the money to put it down.
Right.
So, what do I need to do to be able to capture that lead? Right. Most of the time, what I'll do is I engage as far as messaging them back. I ideally want to know what their vision is. I want to see what their mind comes up with when I ask them what their vision of that night. How is it going to look? What are we serving?
Are you messaging within the platform?
I'm messaging within so my first message is within the platform.
Okay.
And that's to engage, right?
Okay.
That's to let them know that I'm interested in and I'm available. And I let them know like, hey, congratulations, that's awesome. You guys are engaged. That's awesome. I see you're looking for this date. We're available. We'd love to be a part of it. Tell me your vision. What does it look like? What's your favorite cocktail?
Right.
So I go into questions. Like I want to know a little bit more about them. And then after they respond to me, then I'll let them know, okay, great. I have an inquiry sheet that I've created, a Google Forms that mirrors the information that I input on the platform.
Got
Right.
it.
So it narrows down what exactly they're looking for. And it allows me to put in all. So there's two things, and this is one of the things that as far as feedback goes, that we'll
Love
get
it.
into, right?
Love it.
This is two things that is important to me. It's number one, it's capturing their information,
Right.
even if they don't book.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
those are potential.
working on that.
That's what and
Yeah.
then we've talked about that too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I know it's on the it's on the board. But for me, it captures that so that way it's a future opportunity,
Right.
right? If you're doing like email advertisements, you're capturing all that information, what they're celebrating, when the date is. If they're getting married, guess what? You just have an anniversary campaign that you just made, right? And now you
Right.
can reach it back out to those people.
I'm
Right.
terrible at
Yearly
that. I need to
anniversary.
be
Right.
to do
Yeah.
that.
So, I have them, once they reply, I let them know, okay, great. Can you fill out this submission request form? Gives me a little bit more of an idea of what you're looking for so I can customize your estimate for you.
Got it.
And I usually don't have any, like, that's very, it works. Like, people are more than happy to fill that out. Once I do that, then I'll send them an email, kind of giving them some more information. I'll send them the estimate, the link.
Right.
And then I'll text them the link and I'll say, hey, I sent you an email with more information. Here's the link to where you can kind of take a look at. I'm going to give you a call so that way I can review it with you and answer any
walk you through it.
questions. Yeah.
Love that. That extra hand holding situation. That's like concierge services,
Yeah.
right? It's just all like,
Yeah.
hey,
That white
this
glove
is not
service.
just like,
Yeah.
boom, here you go. Like, again, whatever you're using, a tool is a tool.
Yeah.
Like, it's you that makes things different.
Yeah.
And we always try to tell people that, like, yes, you can do it this way, and it can work for you, but you can always increase your chances by adding this human element to it, So that's huge. Okay, so before, how are you doing it? So before the platform, before you send in the link,
Yeah.
was there, and you can just like dumb it down, was it more of like, was there more back and forth before, or do you feel like, you can be honest, do you feel like, oh, it didn't make that much of a difference, or it helped out my process, or it helped out from the consumer's perspective, or both?
Yeah.
It,
It cut down on the amount of steps that it takes to book. So similar to how Viv was explaining, we would have contracts, we would have invoices, we would have all these different things that even though I would try, because I was using Square, the Square platform,
right.
and I was using it for mainly as much as I possibly could just to kind of just keep it
Simple.
simple.
Yeah.
And
Simple but not simple.
yeah, simple is
theory.
Android, like Android is simple.
Mm-hmm.
And
Shots.
shots fired. Shots, fuck, you hear me, people.
Ooh.
No,
49% of people.
yeah, I know. Don't come for me, Asians.
Anywho.
Yeah, so
South Korea.
yeah, exactly. So it stopped the amount of back and forth because I would have to go on Square. I'd have to enter their information, do all these little things, enter the message for the invoice, adjust the invoice, add this, change
Manually
that.
type in every single thing. Lime
Yeah.
juice,
Yeah.
agave,
Exactly.
club soda.
So
Yeah,
it saved time in your end for the most part.
it did.
Yeah.
It did. The only thing that, it did 100%.
Right.
You can't even deny that.
Right.
So it stopped the back and forth.
Right.
It allowed me to get one message out of what my services include. It allowed them to take a look at the information, how much it would cost, the type of cocktails, the deposit, everything like that. And by telling them, hey, I'm going to give you a call, it allowed me to close the deal.
Yeah, you close
right?
the deal.
Yeah.
That's how you close it.
Yeah.
The deal was in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
This is the paperwork you got to sign to buy this car.
Yeah.
But I'm right here to talk you and walk you through this.
Yeah.
To help you feel like solidified in this decision. This is a big day for you. This is a big moment. And this is just one of the decisions you have to make amongst many. I just want to make this just a tad bit easier for you, but let you know that I'm here.
And people don't know what they're doing. They don't know. They don't do this type of stuff, so they don't know what to think about, what they're gonna need, the type of flow of the day, how much time
that's
they
such a
need to
great
prep,
Mm-hmm.
how much time they need to go to the grocery store, which grocery store to get which ingredients, and where do I go if I can't find. So most of the time, people will be doing that last minute,
Right.
the day of.
The day
At
of
the
their
fucking
wedding.
grocery store,
Yeah.
calling the bride or the groom, saying, "Hey, I couldn't find this at the grocery store. Let me
What
go
else
to
do I
another,
have?"
let me go to another store, right?" So we try to make it as easy as possible to be able to say, "Hey, look, I understand you have a lot of questions. I'm going to walk you through those questions. I'm going to answer those questions for you. I'm going to help you understand what the day is going to look like, what the vision will look like.
Right.
And that vision is going to entail you not stressing about the bar. That vision is going to entail you enjoying a cocktail, having a great time with your family, not worrying about the bar.
Right. I love that. And it's, the first thing that we leaned in on with how you book a bartender that's using the Happiest Ours platform is you guys heard the term, the convenience package. It's the messy package. It's the thirsty horse package. It's all purely convenience. And the metaphor, the comparison that I use is all like the burrito down the street from your house costs $10, but DoorDash is going to get it to you for $22, the same burrito. And it's actually probably going to be in worse condition because it's colder now. But do you know how many people buy that same burrito on DoorDash, even though it's 5 minutes from their house or whatever it is? People that prefer convenience will pay more for it at the end of the day.
Every day.
They just want to know.
$22 burrito. I really would.
100%.
Yeah.
I do it all the time too because
I
I'm
can
just
stay
like,
in my
I got
pajamas.
things going on and I don't want to have to worry about it, especially on a big day like that. And you got so many things going on. If you, especially the phone call is so key, and you guys both do this very well. You provide some form of relief, some form of comfort that guy, that gal is going to take care of that side of things. And that's one thing I can just check off the box and not have to worry about. And that is valuable to a lot of people. There's some people.
Let me tell you, that caterer or the florist, they don't have that little send invoice link from one phone to another.
Right. So kudos for you guys and knowing that's like, okay, this is a tool. It's going to make my life easier, but I still need to make sure I layer over what makes me special and let these guys feel like there's comfort in what we're going to provide as a service. So that's clutch. The next topic I want to bring up, which we are known for, a lot of people know us for, we provide the alcohol through the platform, right? And that's a very different way of doing things. And we're starting to realize that as we talk to not only bartenders in California, but across the state. We just onboarded our first New York bartender.
Across the country
today.
New York.
Across the country
The fuck
today.
outta here.
And we're going to get her booked for an event this weekend. And I'm flying
Stop
out Friday night to that event.
No.
It's nuts. It's insane. It's crazy. We don't know. We're figuring things out.
Yeah.
But
He's just trying to
figured
give
it
himself
out.
a chopped cheese.
Right. But the alcohol piece is a huge piece because when I first started to think about creating this platform, to me, it's like the alcohol piece is unless you're doing mocktails only, that's a part of the service.
Yeah.
To hire this and then going to have to do this, you're splitting up something that should be combined because it comes together. It's like peanut butter and jelly. You know what I mean? It's the same exact thing. Who's drinking dry cereal or eating dry cereal? You got to put milk to it.
Yeah.
You need the
Better
two
put
things.
some water in that.
Yeah. Right. I guess.
Struggle
Make
meals.
it work.
What you doing?
Make it work.
Every time I'm in the kitchen, you in the kitchen. Goddamn refrigerator. Eating all the food. Damn it, Craig.
Yeah, right. That's it. Classic. Such a classic. But so you guys you guys are on the forefront, guinea pigs, not test dummies, guinea pigs. Right?
Cute
We
butts.
first
Guinea pigging.
Right, we first started
We have
off with
cute
the
butts.
alcohol delivery piece, and we still kind of dabble in that a little bit, but we're truly transitioning to use the platform because it transitions into your alcohol needs very seamlessly, right? So you guys know best what works when it comes to the customers, especially for a wedding. I'm very curious on your standpoint. This is great feedback for us. Why they get the alcohol and why they don't get the alcohol on the platform, and how you guys approach it when it comes to okay, we don't necessarily need it. I'm sure you guys hear people that's wavering or waffling around the idea of should I get it from you guys or not? And how do you handle those situations? I'm very curious. So I'll jump to you, Vivian. You've gotten events that have got the alcohol, events that have not got the alcohol. So
it's always a toss up, but I try to push it most because it's easiest on weddings. I know I'm always talking about weddings, but that's our jam. my speech to our couples is always, you have a million things to deal with the day before, the week of. There's so much going on. Why try to schedule in a shopping trip to go buy alcohol? We can bring it to you. We can bring it back. You don't have to worry about it. So I'm always trying to push on those clients. But there is those people that are just, and we all know, that are just so set on Costco.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes it's hard to.
I love Costco,
Yeah,
too.
we all love.
Yeah,
Kirkland.
we all
Go
love
Kirkland.
Costco.
That's our
Give
Friday
me a
night
free
dates.
sample.
Costco nights.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So that's usually who I try to push most because I can push that note of convenience or the budget. Like, you're already, over your head in wedding budget. Why
Right.
pay for all this extra alcohol that you're going to have to just store and drag back down with
Right.
you?
So you brought up a good point. The key thing about with Happiest Ours, if you use preferred brands, we will take back any of the bottles that you don't use. And we were doing, which is such a key thing, that was our winning recipe when we were doing our own bartending events. Like, it almost separated us from everybody else because these corporate events that we would do, they were like, oh my God, the convenience of like, I don't have to worry about it.
It's added value.
It's added value. I'm going to need this anyways. And it's also, we tied it in with like, these are the best brands that work with our cocktails. If you want the cocktail that I created, and again, you don't have to use a preferred brands. Like, there may be a brand that, like Messy, you prefer. It's not a preferred brand of ours, but it's all like, you can still use it. We have bartending companies that use all sorts of different brands on there. It's just like, this is what works best for my cocktail. And it's almost like a signature cocktail at a bar. You know what I mean? So, like, I know that that's a situation, but you're exactly right. Like, one of the reasons is all like, I feel like I can get a better deal at Costco. I can get like half a gallon of this tequila or this vodka for like $15, $25, $22.
Absolutely.
Well, surprise, people.
How much tequila you gonna buy though?
Exactly.
How much bourbon do you think you need?
There's only one thing
much-
Costco won't return.
Alcohol.
How much?
Actually, that was
gin
my
do
that
you
was
need?
my selling point today. I have a wedding that's already booked. Did my my follow-up consultation, and we're discussing their drinks and like, okay, well, alcohol, and they were already Costco. I'm like, sure, no worries, and they're like, and it's okay because Costco takes everything back, so I'm just gonna return it, and I'm like, pump the brakes.
Right.
Actually, Costco doesn't, but I got somebody that does,
Right.
and that turned them, and now I'm getting them their quote for the alcohol through Happiest Hours because they want that convenience.
Love
yeah.
it. Love it.
Quote out shortly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's common
CJ,
sense.
can you quick drop
right.
what you're doing?
Right. Yeah, and for yourself, Roman, like going through it, like again, same thing as Vivian. You've gotten events that they for sure get the alcohol, no brainer, but then you get some on the other side that it's just like you just remove it. So like, what are you seeing as to why people are just like, nah, I'm good?
The only times that I see that people don't get the alcohol is if they fucking party. And they party hard.
Yes.
Like they're like, dude, we have parties literally all the time.
Oh, they got
Our
leftover
family,
booze.
yeah, like my
Oh,
family
got
are
it. That makes
borderline
sense.
I want the
alcoholics.
leftover booze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's one where they're like, bro, don't even worry about it. I have a
Right.
I
Yeah,
have a
they have
shitload
their
from
set.
parties.
There's nothing you can
Yeah.
do about it.
We're
good.
Like, it makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes
we
sense.
have parties all the time. Okay, cool, fine. Other times is mainly it's either that or they work in the business and they have connections
A
to
connection.
distribute.
Yep.
Yeah. And
So those are the only
What do you-
those
yeah,
are the
I mean, you
only
can't-
two. Other than that, it's mainly just like we just mentioned. For the 2% of people that either party all the time and don't care about having extra alcohol or are in the business and no connection into just they don't know what they're doing, and they either number one, they think they're gonna be spending or saving money but giving time, and they think
right.
that they have that time.
Right. Right.
Right.
And it's most of the time it's just asking them some questions of like, okay, so you're the day of the wedding or the day before the wedding, you're in this grocery store, you're in the actual aisle. How much of this are you gonna buy?
Right.
How much do you know your family enough to know like who's gonna be drinking what? No, okay. Would you prefer not to have to worry about this? Yeah, I mean, no. I mean, what if I told you that it would only come out to $5 a cocktail?
Yeah. See,
And it's like, dude, I'll go shopping for you.
Right.
I'll bring all the alcohol so you
Right.
don't have to worry about it. I take it back. You only pay for the bottles that you open. What else? What
Couldn't
what
be
what,
any
what could I
easier.
do more? Like
Thank you.
literally,
What
Right.
if I'm not available
Right.
while you're doing your shopping and you can't just call me right? You know, and it's
Don't call me. I'll call you. Don't call me. I will
So
call
true.
you.
So true.
You're at the grocery store. I will call
Oh
you.
my god.
the amount of times I've had customers who are like, I don't want you to provide the alcohol, and then I get this call and I got all this background noise.
Yeah.
CJ, I'm at the grocery store. I need your help.
I'm at the grocery store, just real quick, and now I'm with you in Costco.
I'm sorry, I can't.
Who,
Yeah.
who
It's
spends
that
just 30
connection.
minutes in Costco?
Right.
Nobody.
No.
Yeah.
I don't have that hour and a half
Yeah, it's
to
happened
spend
so
with
many
you
times.
to walk
Yeah.
you through.
Yeah.
This
Oh, well,
bottle-
I see this alcohol. I see this tequila. What
This
about
bottle's
tequila?
$35 and this
But-
one's $37. Which one's
Right.
better?
Oh
Can you
my
look at
God.
how much would that cost? Can you add it up for me?
And
I'm
you,
like,
you know what's
about to charge you a
interesting?
consulting fee.
Right, at this point. And you know what's
Exactly.
interesting about this is that, like, it does not matter. Every time you walk your ass in the store, you're 100% going to get it wrong.
You are.
Matter, no
There's
matter
nothing.
That's
who,
it.
no matter who is recommending any. That's why when they would call us and they're in the middle of Costco, like I would get a little queasy. I'm like, oh man, like I'm gonna tell you what I think and what the calculations say.
And guess
but-
what? It's your fault if we run out.
Yes.
Right,
Yes.
right.
Yes.
I have no
Us.
clue.
I
Yeah.
trusted
Who
you,
is showing
Ryan.
up
I
to
I'm
the
not
trusted
going
you.
under.
Right.
You let me
and
go.
now you
I was
ran
like
out.
an egg in your hands and you dropped me, bro.
You did. It was your fault.
We make scrambled eggs.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
We make the best of it.
Yeah, and
Not
that
at the floor,
becomes a
you're not.
part
I've
of
seen
your-
it.
That
Yeah.
becomes a part of your
Extra
service.
flavors.
Yeah.
Whatever you offer,
Some
this
salt,
and
some
that.
pepper.
But however you slice it, when you walk into that building, you're 100% going to get it wrong, no matter
Yep.
who's giving the recommendation.
Yeah.
Because you
1000%.
don't
Yeah.
know how many people are going to really show up,
Yeah.
how much they're going to really drink. Maybe your gin cocktail was the hit of the night.
And
I remember
nobody even
this-
liked gin.
Right.
Right.
I remember this
Right.
event that we had way up in Big Bear. And it was a wedding. It was a
Yep.
wedding event. And we were just like, okay, there was a gin, there's a vodka, there's a tequila cocktail. I'm like, okay, cool. And, we're thinking, we're in Southern California, baby. This is tequila all
Tequila.
day. Like, you got to load up on the tequila. Gin is the very last out
Yes.
of all of them
Yes.
that people are going to be drinking. Well,
Only
just
the
so
freaks
happened.
drink gin, bro.
Right.
Only the freak. I'm looking
But
at you.
it just so
Real,
happened that
real.
this wedding was a family from New York.
Oh,
That's
Lord
right.
have mercy.
They flew in all of
It
their
was like
family
New
from
York
New
and
York.
London.
You
They
know
were
what?
all-
That's so
yeah.
funny. That was my Big Bear wedding where it was all gin and they were all from New York. That's
Yeah.
so weird.
And so
Yeah.
they come
Yeah.
in, and we're
Must
just
be
like,
'cause of the
oh,
cold weather. They want the
snaps.
cold weather in
It
Big
was a
Bear.
good thing that we had the model of like, hey, we're gonna bring as much possible of everything.
Right.
And even when we're packing it, we're like, there's no way they're even gonna go into like
Yeah. I
feel
a
bad.
third of this gin.
I felt bad.
Yeah, it's just like we're
Yeah.
just extra work just carrying this stuff. But it's all like it worked out because we had no clue, And maybe we could have qualified it better. Maybe we could have like asked questions. Hey, what type of cocktails you guys like to drink? This and that. But like even still, we're like we make the assumptions. Like
Yeah.
you know where we're at.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things to where,
It's the same. I'm sorry to cut you off. It's the same. I hear this a lot. I'm sure you guys all hear it a lot. Well, we don't need that much because our family really doesn't drink. My
Yeah.
gosh.
Girl.
Yeah, sure they don't.
They
When-
don't because what they're not thinking, and this is part of the speech that I always tell people, like, well, you're right. In certain situations they may not drink a lot, but when you're at your wedding, emotions are flying,
celebration.
everybody's happy,
When
and there's
was the last time your family have seen each other?
Thank you.
Yeah,
When was the-
really.
Right.
Thank you.
And
Right.
is your family the type of family that takes shots? Thank you. Yeah. Yes, they are. I know that. I don't even know them, but I know
They're
them.
just
Your
gonna-
Theo, he's
yeah.
a drunk, bro.
Oh
I
my
know this
gosh,
about him.
selfish.
Like,
Oh,
Right.
gross.
It's
Watch
cra-
out for Theo in the corner.
Theo's gonna be trying to
brought
sell
his own
bottles.
30 pack?
Last time he
Oh,
tried to sell
yeah.
bottles for me.
Right. Hey, where'd you get that from?
Your,
Yeah.
your
Yeah,
uncle
I'll take
is.
one.
Yeah, he's
But
reckless.
yeah, so they don't know that people are gonna drink because it's there. It's
Right.
there to grab.
Right.
It's
Right.
yeah.
Free
Yeah.
booze?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
yeah.
gonna have one
So
more additional
people that
cocktail.
don't drink are gonna drink because
Thank
it's free.
you.
Yeah.
Even
Yeah.
the climate has an
Right.
effect on how much alcohol is being drank and how the family interprets that climate. Because I've had cold gigs where people are like, "Nah, I'm not gonna drink. I'm cold. It's too cold." And I've had gigs where it's like, "I'm fucking cold. Let me take shots."
Right.
Thank
We're
you.
doing shots.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
warm me up.
Don't give
Like,
me any ice. I
Yeah.
bought all these bags of ice. Nobody fucking uses my
No,
ice. And
that's not a real
I
personal.
felt that, bro.
That's not
Yeah,
a real
I
personal.
felt that one. Like that. Like I felt that one.
There
from
was
the
somebody's
core.
face that Remy was envisioning right now.
Right.
Like,
You could tell he was hauling
I
up
saw it,
ice. up 8 flights of stairs, dripping on his knees.
I told you 3 bags of ice. I told you.
Yeah.
Nobody listens.
That's personal pain.
It's a hate relationship with ice, is what it is. It's a hate relationship.
All bartenders hate ice.
Right.
If you are not a bartending company
Touch
and
my
you are booking a
ice.
bartender,
Ice sucks.
if you wanna be nice to your bartender, provide the ice.
And you know what? If you're a vendor, do not ask the bartender for ice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I mean, you can,
Right.
But we're gonna.
But we are
but
gonna.
they're not gonna be happy about
Yeah,
it.
gonna
but you
judge
also
you.
know what factors into it when they say the comments, Vivian, of like, oh, my family doesn't drink as much. Well, have you tried my cocktails?
Hey.
Your
That's the
family
other
ain't tried
thing.
my
Smooth.
cocktails.
That's the other thing,
Right, you know what I mean? Like realistically, not even be like,
Yeah.
you know, like just like, oh, my cocktails, but like any one of our cocktails out here, like it can just turn. Oh wow, I never had this before. Like this tastes
Coco
really good.
Haze.
Yeah, you have one of these. You can easily drink 3, 4 of these and just like, what
Yeah.
happened?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
My
I never
mom
drink
doesn't
like that.
drink.
Yeah.
And you know what the first thing I thought when I drink your cocktail? My mom would love
Your
this.
mom will love this.
My
Yeah,
mom will
yeah,
love
yeah,
this.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is the
Mama.
thing.
Compliment.
This is the thing where my mom would go to an Italian restaurant and be like, "You have a Coco Haze?"
How stinky.
Miss-
cute.
Rum is not native to Italian food.
It's Italian.
Italian.
Some
This
Italian.
is great, guys. And so what I also want to like talk about, you know, before we kind of close out is like any feedback that you guys have, and we can just be like, again, as real as possible. Just like
I'm gonna rip
again,
your ass right
yeah,
now.
yeah.
Just
Bring it on,
go.
bring it on, man, bring
Okay,
it
in that
on.
case,
No.
you go first.
Yeah.
Oh, let me tell you.
Uh-oh.
Let me get another drink.
Yeah,
No.
right. But no, it's
yeah.
like we're a startup. You know what I mean? Like we're
not
a startup.
perfect.
Yeah, no one's perfect, and we're striving for that. We keep moving towards
have
that
one. Okay,
direction.
I have one.
You know what I mean? But we're constantly trying to take feedback, and I think this is an awesome live session of feedback. And this is kind of what CJ and I go through on a daily basis, asking how can we improve, how can we do things, but we also have to know how do we prioritize.
Right.
You know,
right.
what's the thing that 9 out of 10 bartenders are asking for that they need, and then well, let's put that to the top of the list. But then everything is still important. Everything's important, but we still have to prioritize it. So any feedback, any improvements, that kind of thing.
Keep in mind we have our tech call tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Right.
So this is perfect timing, actually. And it might already be on the platform. I'll be honest, I haven't researched enough. But today, as I was replacing my old CRM with Happiest Hours, when I do those initial calls with our couples, you know, their wedding is 12 months out. They don't know yet what drinks they want.
Right.
So, you know, on our platform, they select their
the
drinks.
Right.
Is there an option of maybe just selecting like custom so that we can address
Yes.
it later?
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Does
So
that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Because
no.
right now
yes.
I'm putting like place markers, so I'll tell
We've
them, hey,
talked
right now I
about
have
this.
a Paloma,
Right.
a whiskey sour,
Your
and a
recommended
blackberry
ones,
smash.
like your most popular ones.
yeah, but I
Yeah.
tell them it's just a placeholder. When we follow up,
Right.
we'll talk again.
I
Yeah,
love
we'll
that.
pick
So, this is so great. We did create a way where people can select a custom cocktail. So for every spirit category, there is a custom
There is,
cocktail and that's why it's interesting because like there's been so much involvement from the platform since you guys first jumped on it. It's like we need to do another session and kind of revamp of things. But there is a custom cocktail on most people's platform. They can pick that and you can type in what it is and you can kind of revisit it and you can have the conversation and figure it out from there. Obviously, the only issue with that is that like, you know, the value of like knowing how much lime juice and how much,
Yeah.
you have to
Yeah.
calculate all that yourself. Now, what you're really asking for is like edits and changes post booking. And that's something that we are building out right now as we
Right.
speak to where it's all like, okay, can you change your cocktails? Can you change the guest count? Can you
we
change
yeah,
the
I
hours?
have 40
Change
more
the
guests
day?
coming. Like, dang.
You know,
Right.
and then how do you charge for these things,
Right.
right? And like having it automatically do that instead of like, okay, now it was 100 guests for 3 hours. Now it's 150 guests for 4 hours. What would my charge be at 150 for 4 hours versus 103?
Yeah.
And what can I charge the difference?
Or just what's the additional
What's
cost?
the
Yeah.
additional cost?
Cost,
And
right?
just quickly like
Yeah.
get the approval from the client. Boom, charge your card on file. So these are all things that we're kind of creating. So that's a great point. But for right now, there's a way that we'll pop in a custom cocktail selection. And they can pick that, and then you can just kind of like know that, oh, let me call, it triggers you. Let me call the client, and just because I need to know what they want to make. Another thing for the custom cocktail, I talk about this a lot with, you know, newer bartenders that we try to bring on the platform, is that, and this really kind of goes down to pricing as well. We create that custom cocktail because we know that there's times where they want you to make a cocktail that's it's not on your menu that you've never made before.
Right.
And so you have that opportunity to select that custom cocktail. But we are big about, if you do that, you should be charging more for that. Because at the end of the day, no one should ever show up to an event making a cocktail for the first time.
Yeah.
If someone wants, like, I use the example of like, oh, I met my husband in Hawaii at a bar and we made like pomegranate Mai Tais. Like, and that's how we met. And they want to recreate this experience at their wedding, right? It's like, okay, well, I've never made a pomegranate Mai Tai. It seems simple, like Mai Tai, just add some pomegranate syrup or juice or whatever. But you're going to want to test it. You may alter it a little bit. You want to make it good for the crowd, not just for the two special people. So it's like that time that you take to make that, to R&D that cocktail, that should cost money. You know what I mean? You have to go drive to the store, go buy the ingredients, come back home, take an hour of your time to R&D the cocktail. You should charge additional for that. So, but that's kind of how you can handle it now. So we'll add those custom cocktails.
Yeah, we for sure will have those custom cocktails added for you. The only other detail I'd say is we do have a short-term Band-Aid for as events change because, right, a lot of weddings are booked way far in advance. Is that we do have a note section, right, that stays with the event. And so I'd say nothing's more key than
when we
down.
update the notes, do you guys get those? Can you see them as well? Or like,
no,
okay.
no.
We can see
The notes
them.
are just for us.
But they're all internal.
Well,
all
because like
internal.
for example, like I have an event that's in May, right? And we've been going back and forth on what type of wine they want to serve, right? So we have one selected. They're going with a different selection.
Yeah.
So I put in the notes of what they wanted.
Yeah.
So when we get to that, I'll let you guys know, hey, can you also add it on
Right,
there?
right.
But my question is like, hey, if you have something coming up, can you just go into my notes
Right, and
check it and be like, okay, cool, like they're asking for this, right?
Right.
So you do, but it's not SOP.
It's manual.
Right,
It's manual.
right.
Yeah.
It's exactly. It's. I have a manual way to get into the back end to see it.
It's easier if I
but
text you and let you know.
It's easier
Right,
if
right
you just text me.
Right.
Right. Or even if you just said something like, "Hey, remember my event on this date? Let me know. There's something special going on with it. Just make sure you review it."
Okay.
Right. Even that will help me, and then we'll go into it.
That's another great piece of feedback. So it's all like, we have people that will deal with the alcohol for the events. So it's that person being notified. Efren, we got to give it up for Efren.
Shouts out to Efrain.
He's knocking it out right
Yeah.
now. But like, he needs to be notified of like the changes of these events, what type of products he needs and this and that. So streamlining that process, to your point of like, let me just type in this note. Maybe it's an alcohol section note, an alcohol change. We are creating a way where you can pick other, like, type of thing. You know what I mean? And then it can like, open it up or whatever. So we're dabbling in that a little bit, but right now it's more of like, just notify us and we'll get it done.
Gotcha.
But yeah, if there is a way for us to get, automatically.
I wonder if you can add a tag on the note, like how they have options on some of them where you add tags or hashtags or whatever.
Right.
To where at least it'll send a notification.
notifies.
So just,
Right.
at least it's on, like, and still communicate, but at least you guys are like, oh, everyone will be like, all right,
got
cool, we got an
pinged.
adjustment.
I'm
Okay,
aware.
that's on my head now.
Yeah,
Right.
and you should be getting contact from Efrain, about
Oh,
Efrain.
shit.
Fancy.
God damn.
Like, that's
about
too
a
fancy.
couple of
I really
weeks.
want to say it that way,
Yeah,
but I'm sorry,
Me
Efren,
like-
bro.
See, but
like,
I
I'm gonna
spent too
call
much
you Efren.
time with Efrain,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
I
yeah.
have to. No,
Got me
but
fucked up on that one.
right? Yeah. It only took me 2 years to figure out his name.
That's so
Efrain.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But
Why
no.
didn't you tell me that?
I'm the
Yeah,
asshole.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh my
now
gosh,
we're
you
the
guys-
fucking
Yes,
assholes
you are.
here.
Right. No, but
Boys.
he'll reach
Calm
out
down.
to you. He will reach out,
Yeah.
before your event because we are also aware. Right, things happen.
Things
Yes.
happen.
Changes can happen.
Right.
Yeah.
You and so that's part of the process. Reach out, make sure everything is like how we think it is. Make any changes that we need to, and then you're ready to go for your delivery.
Yeah.
And you have that proper expectation on
Yeah.
what you're gonna get when it's gonna come to you.
Right. And I know one of the big ones too is the leads, getting the information of the people that do fill out this stuff. So that is definitely top of the list.
Yeah.
It's actually like, when they type in like the address and the guest and the hours and the date, like all that stuff, like on that same form, we're going to like make it more aesthetically, because like sometimes this is like getting nitty gritty.
Yeah.
But like sometimes the bars are too big. It's just a date. Like you can cut that in half.
Yeah.
So we're gonna like shrink that down, but then also ask for the
Name, email,
name,
phone.
email, and phone right then and there. And the moment that we collect that, your information type of thing.
Right.
So we're working on that. That makes a ton of sense. Just so that you know, like, okay, this person, like, they had high intent to buy, but something didn't, like, something stopped them.
Yeah.
Like, who knows? Their mom might have called them.
Yeah.
Or, like, whatever. That's just, like, in the middle of the stuff. And now we live in a very distracted world. Like, you know what I mean? Like, now you're asking me to fill out stuff and do things like they could all get back to it, but then they never do. So it's like, but we're so, like, talking about thinking in advance. It's like, we're for sure trying to develop something where it's like AI. If we notice that somebody's filled that out, their name and information, all that stuff, if they haven't like completed the sale in like an hour, like just have AI select your hottest cocktails, select the amount of beer that's required, because if they don't open it, we're not gonna charge them for it.
Yeah.
Like select the wine, the champagne, the waters that's required, and just send them the link automatically. We have their contact information. Just send it to them. Let it just go in their inbox, and then it can just be like, hey, again, it's all about letting them have the decision to buy.
Yeah.
Right.
Putting it
It's
in
also
their pocket.
it's also being there when it's being on top of their mind, right?
Yes.
Right.
Like
Yes.
I worked in like on the peripherals of the real estate industry, and one of the main things that they had was drip campaigns,
Right.
right?
100%.
And having in the future being able to leverage AI and to create a drip or an email / text campaign would complement the ability to book on the platform, right? It's adding in small bits of like, all right, an hour after or 30 minutes after they book or 30 minutes after they submit an interest and we get their name and their phone number and their email, we send them a follow-up text message of like, what type of cocktails are you? What's your favorite cocktail?
Right.
Open-ended questions to
Right.
get that conversation going.
Yep.
So that way we've established a relationship based on the fact that we're going back and forth while we're conversing. Hey, by the way, here's the link. Here's all the information. And then some platforms that I worked in the past would essentially call you and then call the client. And as soon as you picked up, it would allow the client, it ring the client, so that way it takes the laziness out of the bartenders, which we are.
Right.
I am.
Right.
And it's like, but it's automated to where it's like, it's very simple, nothing too crazy, one email, one text, and then one phone call.
Right.
And that's like the future of what I see this turning into, of like all encompassing. Boom.
I love it.
You know what I'm saying?
I love it. That's fantastic. And, and you guys have kind of answered this already, just going through these questions and this process, which you guys are awesome for being super vulnerable and open for feedback for us. For some of the newer bartending companies that are jumping on the platform, that are using it, any advice for them? I think you kind of already answered a lot of it, but like any particular things that come up in your mind of like, hey, like this is how I would think about using Happiest Ours platform, or like that kind of thing.
Before we go into that, one last piece of feedback that I think would be awesome. Under the events.
You've already had enough. I'm sorry.
I know. I told you I'm going to rip that ass. I'm going to rip that ass. When on the event section, right? If we could filter so where it's by date. Because at the moment, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
I kind of have to look and see
That's
what's
a
my
simple
next
one.
That
event.
is
Right.
for sure.
That sucks. I know.
And that'll make it like for us.
Yes.
It'll make it so more
Oh my
efficient to be like,
God.
okay,
The first thing on
earliest
top
event.
Don't
Yeah.
That is
don't
is
worry.
my June 2026 wedding. I'm like, oh, I can't look at you for another 8
The
months.
tech team is already aware.
Oh, good.
They did it in order of when the booking came in.
Right.
And we were
Oh,
like,
that makes sense.
let's just put a little more thought into that.
Yeah.
We're thinking about now.
If we can add the
Right,
date of when they
there's-
booked, that'd be cool. But
There's
Right.
certain things that I'm just all like, why would you do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just all like
my boy
but-
was faded.
we have to-
He was
yeah,
like, you know what would be a good idea? You know what would be a good idea? What if we put
You're a mess, brother. You're a mess.
Yeah, but
Oh my
no,
gosh,
like
this is
real
funny.
stuff. Though,
Advice.
it's made us better as product managers,
Right.
call it, as in being very clear with how we want things
That's
done.
what we need.
And like I can't like
And
I
tech
think
team, we
people,
love you guys.
Yeah, no, our tech team is
Yeah.
phenomenal. They're
Respect
great.
to
It's
the tech
just
team.
No, nothing
we
better.
just have to be more clear. Like
Right.
sometimes when I'll
Is it
say
like the
things,
boys versus girls conversation we had earlier?
Yes.
I gotta spell it out
Yes.
for you.
You gotta spell it out. You
Spell it
have
out for you
to
boys.
because like
and then you got to teach me how to read because I don't even know.
Exactly.
Right,
Exactly.
I don't know what that
Because-
means.
because of the fact that like I may loosely say, hey, we should do things like this, and then they'll just like run with it on their own, like and think about like, hey, because how their background, how they're raised, however, all those things go into it with how they build things, and so I have to be very clear with like, make sure it's done this way off jump. You know what I mean? And then that's what we've learned as we've gone through the process of this whole thing. But yeah, I know that's a big one of like, you know, it'll just make my life easier if I just know this is what's coming up. This is what's like.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
got to worry about
Yeah,
really
super
right now.
Yeah.
But
But
yeah.
any advice for anybody that's jumping on? Any
Just
advice?
do it.
Like, yeah,
Just do it.
Oh,
that's
Nike.
it. Look at that.
Just do it. It's
Yeah.
so simple. If you're new on the platform or if you're new to bartending and you start with the Happiest Hours booking platform, it'll just be the easiest thing for you. Yeah, so much less to figure out and deal with. 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things where you need, like she said, just do it because you won't know how it is that you do things until you actually experience it.
Right.
Save
And
yourself the trouble.
You can contemplate all you want. You can think it out all you want. Shit always hits your face.
Right.
Yeah.
You're gonna adjust, and the way that you adjust makes you special. That's why
Ooh.
people book us for what they book, right? It's because of the things how we handle getting shit in our face.
No,
I love
like,
that.
Right?
yeah,
It's
no.
like you just
No,
get fucking
great.
How
punched
you
and you're
adjust.
like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's how
cool.
you
Like,
adjust.
Well, that
let's,
was part of
everybody
our
know what I'm
fuck ups
saying?
conversation.
Right.
It's
Yeah, 100%.
fuck ups, but how you recover.
Exactly.
100%.
Everybody has a plan until you get punched in
Punch
the
in the face. Yeah. Another analogy I have for it's all like, it's like, I don't know if you guys played video games, but like Madden, right? Madden, like football was a big thing when I was growing up and playing football. And every year, a brand new game. And like the next year, they would change something.
Yep.
And it's just like, you may hate it. Like, why do they make this button do this instead of this button? But
Why
it's
did
just
they
all
take
like,
my truck button away?
right. But it's all like, if you keep playing the old Madden, you're going to be left in the dust.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You got to adjust.
You got to adapt.
This is how things are going nowadays. If you keep doing things that way, you're not going to be, you know, at least riding the wave of what's going on. Ideally, you're ahead of the wave.
Right.
That's where you want to be.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're behind a wave, like, good luck. You're sinking, right? So,
You won't be in business
Shark
too
bait.
long.
Hoo-ha.
right. Right. No, this is awesome. Well, guys, like, I think this has been fantastic. Like, a little selfish on our part because we wanted to hear more about the platform. You guys bigged this up big time, but you guys are a huge piece to it. And we love to hear not more so about the platform itself, but more so of how it's helping you guys out. And you guys got busy lives, you got kids, full-time jobs, and you're running a business on the side, which is insane. Like, I want everybody to sit back and just understand that that's a lot.
Kudos.
That is a lot. But like, you guys are hustlers yourselves. You guys are very optimistic. You guys keep striving for the best stuff. And all this thing is a tool. And the only thing we can do is try to understand your lives and try to optimize this tool that best fits, that gives you the best outcome for what you guys are dealing with. And so you guys are a part of that journey, and we appreciate it so much.
Thank you,
and
guys.
everybody
Thank
else
you.
that's using it is appreciating it. You guys have touched everybody else because of that. And
I
we
will
get
touch
comments.
them again.
I was waiting for
Right,
it.
I know,
I
here it
knew
comes.
it.
Here
I
it
knew
comes. You know,
He was so smooth with it,
right,
though.
right. But no, dude,
You know
you're-
me too well.
Yeah. And Roman, man, you're a champ for coming on. I
Yeah.
literally texted you today and said,
Yeah.
jump on the platform. And you said, hey, I'm going to make it happen, dude. You're a busy guy.
Yeah.
And you got a lot going on. And so we just
I looked
appreciate
at my
that.
phone. I was like,
Oh, shit. There we go.
All right, later.
That was that
Right.
1 hour response.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't want to.
And-
babe, can I go, please?
Yeah, yeah, right,
Please?
right.
Being realistic.
I'll be really. Come on, I'll clean the
I'll
dishes.
be
Come
cool.
on,
Yeah,
please.
yeah, let's do it. No, that's awesome, dude. So, Roman, where can people find you, man? Like, what is
your
where should people
handles.
hit you up? All your stuff.
So themessybartender.com. You
Nice.
can look me up on Google, The Messy Bartender, on Instagram, themessy.bartender. Or you can find me at Yo Mama's house.
Oh,
YoMamasHouse.com. That's where you can find him, guys.
Good night,
So,
everybody. We're
Messybartender.com.
ending with
Hey,
that.
guys,
During
follow
the
us,
show.
subscribe, do all those
Like,
things.
share.
You might meet funny dudes like this guy
Yes,
over here.
yes.
So we appreciate y'all tuning in.
Thanks for having
Check
me,
out the
guys.
next episode. We got some fun guests coming up next. All right, y'all.
One of my
Have a good one.
favorites.
Cheers.